The winning blueprint presents.
In the lab room.
Welcome to the Friday edition of In the Lab Room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Who knew? That's the theme of the day. Who knew? Who knew we were going to get the best Thursday night game of the season thus far? I mean, Browns-Ravens doesn't exactly strike you as a marquee matchup on the slate of games as you look at the list of games coming up for the week of football. And so, I mean, who knew? I had denounced this game as a blowout. I had already written it off and said this game is a blowout. If there's a Thursday night game, you could get away with not watching it to the conclusion. This was it. And I hope I didn't, I hope I didn't, in my wrongful analysis of the game, did not deter anyone from watching this game to its conclusion with my declaration, because if I did, you missed out on a pretty good ball game. I mean, it got sloppy. The weather got sloppy. The play on the field, in turn, got sloppy. However, it ended up being a very good game and a very watchable game, especially coming down the end. I thought Brandon Weeden did a great job of putting his team in a position to try to at least tie the ball game up. I mean, he didn't get it done all the way, but I give him credit. He could have easily not gotten them down the field. But he took them down the field, got a couple of nice completions. Norwood even dropped the pass. He still was able to come back. He got an intentional grounding. I don't know if that was a good call or not. They were able to still pick up chunks of yardage and get themselves in position to give them a chance to tie the ball game up on the last play of the game. And so this was a very entertaining game for the most part. I thought the Ravens had every opportunity in the world to put these guys away. They just didn't take full advantage of it. I thought Joe Flacco had a so-so game. I was expecting more out of him. He had that egregious red zone pick. You can't do that. It was a great play by the linebacker in zone coverage, coming off of his area to fall back right into where Joe Flacco thought he had an open receiver to make the play. But I felt like even if he didn't make a play on it, the corner was going to be able to undercut it and make a play on the ball. So I just thought that was a bad decision, bad throw by Joe Flacco. Turned it over, and really that kept the Browns in the game. If they get 7 there, I want to say that the score in the game was already 6-0 Ravens, because they botched an extra point, did not kick the extra point through on the first touchdown that they scored in the game. And so I thought they just did everything they could to give this Browns team a chance to stay in the ball game. And kudos to the Browns for playing solid defense. If the Ravens are going to allow you to stay in the game, you have to do your part to make sure that you stay in arm's reach of the Ravens, just in case they want to slip up, you be able to take advantage. And that's what you did. You kept them close enough to you so that if you felt like you could take advantage of any opportunities that they were giving you, you might be able to strike. It wasn't in the cards. Like I said, to me, there was no way the Browns were going to win this game. And they gave it an effort, though. They gave it a run. They gave a valiant effort at that. I mean, they were only a touchdown down, and they got to about the 20-yard line with 2 seconds left because of a bad personal foul penalty on Kruger, the outside linebacker for the Ravens. You can't have that happen. Paul Kruger has to be better than that. He almost cost his team a victory because of that personal foul penalty, that unnecessary roughness penalty. You can't do that, especially after you've basically gotten a win. And so if they were able to overcome it, he did not give them a chance on the last play. You've got to find a way to keep that ball in the field of play. He wasn't under any duress. He had plenty of time to make a solid throw and give his receivers a chance. And he threw it out of the back of the end zone. That's the worst thing you could do in that situation. But leading up to that, let's talk about how we got to that point. I thought that Anquan Boldin had a whale of a game. Every time you start to think that Anquan Boldin is starting to decline in his play, he has a game like this that reminds you that he can get it done in this league. He's still a premier receiver. He doesn't have the speed, never really was a burner, but he used to possess the speed to get by DBs and beat angles. If the defender wasn't a 4-4 guy, he could beat you in a foot race. When he was in Arizona, those days are gone. But what he still has is a set of excellent hands that once he puts them on the football, he's going to corral it and bring it in and make a catch. He made some acrobatic, excellent catches in the rain nonetheless in his game, and I thought he had a critical catch on a third down late in the ball game to extend the drive for the Ravens to eat up more clock and make it tough on the Browns when they got the ball back with no timeouts to go down the field and score. He had some excellent catches in this game, and good to see Anquan Boldin stepping up and showing people out there that he can still get it done and that he is still a top-notch receiver for this Ravens offense. Torrey Smith had another good game, caught another touchdown pass. Ray Rice, he really hasn't had that breakout game I'm looking for yet. You know, he'll have a good run here, good run there, but still looking for Ray Rice to break out, you know, that 6-catch, 97-yard, 18 carry, 117-yard game where he just, breaks off a 54-yard run, catches a 57-yard screen pass, both for touchdowns. I'm waiting for one of those games to happen. Hasn't happened yet, but he was solid last night. They needed him to be solid. It was a very messy game with the rain coming down for the good part of the first half and all of the second half, and so this was a game they needed Ray Rice to be solid and not put the ball on the ground, and that's what they got. A vicious hit on Josh Cribbs early in this game, getting the first turnover of this football game, leading to a touchdown for the Baltimore Ravens. After scoring that touchdown, they botched the extra point, so it was a 6-0 lead. They tack on a field goal later on, go to up 9-0, and I thought this was the pivotal play in the game. If they get the ball, drive down the field, Joe Flacco has a chance. If nothing else, you come away with a field goal, you're up 12-0. The Browns start to feel the pressure of needing to score, and you might see them pressing, and maybe you get a turnover. Instead, Joe Flacco throws an interception in the red zone, allowing the lead to stay at 9-0 and giving the Browns just a sense of confidence that, hey, we're still in this ball game. And anytime you stop a team from scoring when they get inside the 10, you feel like the momentum has changed. It's a big momentum booster when you stop a team and they get no points inside the red zone. And so that was a big play in the game. I thought it was a turning point because if the Ravens get 7 on that possession, go up 16-0, even get a field goal, go up 12-0, I feel like the Browns at that point, I think they would be out of it. Because I think that would be too much of a lead for them that early in the game to have to overcome, especially a team that doesn't score a lot of points. And it's, again, in this game, they had not really come close to scoring yet in the game. And so I thought that was a very, very big play for the Browns. And it kept them in the game. And I thought it kept them in the game for the duration of the game. I thought that play right there was able to keep them alive. They went down, ended up scoring points of their own and getting back in the game. And then it was a close game from that point on. Ravens never were in danger of losing this game, only allowing the Browns to tie it up. And the Ravens kept about a 10-point lead for most of the game. At times it got a little bit bigger, but they were never in danger of losing this game. The Browns got a late field goal, and kudos to Phil Dawson. He was kicking his tail off in the rain, and these were some long field goals, and they were right down the middle, and he kept them in the game. And I thought the Ravens just made too many mistakes, a few drop passes, a couple of holding penalties that on nice runs and nice games that really stunted their drive. And they just didn't click. And again, it was a messy game. The rain kind of, I think, put a clamp on a lot of what the Ravens wanted to do on the offensive side of the ball. I'm not to make any excuses for them. They did not execute the way that they normally do on the offensive end. And it was a divisional game. It was family business, and that's normally what happens. I was wrong in my assessment that I thought it was going to be a blowout. I didn't take into consideration that this was family business, and normally family business comes down to the wire. And I think the rain had a bit to do with it as well. I didn't account for the rain. But either way, the Browns hung in this game, gave themselves a chance, but they just came up short. 16-23. Ravens go to 3-0. Browns drop to 0-3. Pat Shurmur is looking for that elusive first win on this season. They're going to get it from someone. I can't tell you who it's going to be, but this Browns team, they're slowly starting to get better in areas. They just need to put a full game together. 2 halves of offense and defense playing good with the special teams contributing as well. You know, that fumble by Josh Cribbs, he couldn't help it. He took a vicious shot. It was clean. It was legal. But he took a serious shot, was knocked out briefly on the field, fumbled the football, really couldn't do anything about that. Ravens recovered, led to points. They need all 3 facets of the game to come together and need that to come together for all 4 quarters for this Browns team to be successful and get in the win column. They dropped one to the Ravens, 16-23. And let me make a correction. I just said the Ravens were 3-0. The Ravens are 3-1 on the season, and the Browns are 0-4. Excuse me. So, as we move on down the slate of games in Week 4, we got Thursday behind us. That was my Survivor. If you watched Wednesday's episode, that was my sole Survivor pick of the week. And so, there you have it. Got the sole Survivor out of the way on Thursday. And now we just need to be hungry and get to work on Sunday and turn this thing around. No more replacement refs. Got the officials in the game. And so I'm ready to go. I'm ready to turn it up. I told you it's going to get hot, and I'm going to turn it up, and I'm going to get this thing right. And so let's start with these Sunday games. And I start in Atlanta as the Carolina Panthers travel to Atlanta to conduct some family business. And these Panthers right now are struggling. And a lot of their struggles have to do with Cam Newton. Cam Newton is not the same quarterback we saw last year. This is a lot of what we've talked about with this sophomore slump. It happens to the best of them. Teams make adjustments against you. Things don't always go the way that they went in your rookie season. And you have a little bit of adversity. How do you handle that? Right now, Cam Newton is struggling with that adversity. He's holding his head down on the sideline. He's not focusing. I saw a lot of things that I did not like against the Giants on the sideline in his body language. He had an offensive coordinator talking to him, showing him pictures. He wasn't even paying attention. He has to stay focused. He's the leader of this team. He can't allow his play on the field to affect him mentally. He has to stay positive, stay focused, and lead this team. This team is going to go as far as he takes them. And if he's going to mope around and moan and groan about his struggles on the field, then this offense is going to struggle on the field. And he has to be better, and he has to be mentally better. And I think what his biggest problem is that he's going out of his way to try to pass in the pocket. We know you can pass the football. You don't have to go out of your way to show anyone that you can throw the football from the pocket. What makes you special and one of 3 quarterbacks in this league that is a legitimate dual threat is the fact that you can run. When things break down, when you don't like what you see in coverage, you can tuck it and run. And when you don't do that, you make it easy on the defense. I thought you made it way too easy on the Giants. I thought you made it way too easy on Tampa Bay in Week 1. Both of those games, losses. I thought you were yourself in week 2 against the New Orleans Saints, where you tuck it and you ran, and when the pass was there, you threw it, and you were effective in both areas, and you took your team to a victory. That's what you need to do every week. If the run is there, don't be afraid to tuck it and run. If it's not, throw the football. If you can't do either, get rid of the ball, throw it out of bounds, live to fight another day. You just have to be smarter. I think the defense for Carolina is doing all that they can to stay in games, but when the offense is turning the ball over, going out 3 and outs, and continuously putting this defense on the field, it's going to be tough for them to stand up and get the job done. But this team right now is struggling. Cam Newton has to find himself. But look, this is a divisional game. They know the Falcons. This is going to be a close game. If you think for 1 second that beatdown that they suffered at the hands of the Giants last week is going to carry over into this week, you're wrong. They're going to come out. They know this Falcons team. This is family business. It's going to be a nip and tuck game. It's going to be close, very competitive. But the Falcons are the better team here. The Falcons are the better team. They're going to show it on the field. I think they're going to get a heavy dose of those 2 receivers in Roddy White and Julio Jones. Tony Gonzalez is playing arguably his best football in an Atlanta Falcons uniform. He's coming off probably one of his better games in a Falcons uniform last week against San Diego. And so I think this Falcons offense is really starting to, they get it. They're clicking and they're gelling. And they know that this Atlanta Falcons team is only going as far as this offense goes. And so I think their defense is playing a lot better as well. They really shut down San Diego on the road last week, limiting them to next to nothing on the road. And so I think that this Atlanta Falcons team is poised to make a run this year. We'll see. I mean, it's a long season, and they've always been world beaters in the regular season. We've seen this before from them. The script needs to change when the playoffs come, but they get it. They know that they have to take care of business in the regular season. They're on a mission, and I see that mission continuing to be successful on Sunday at home in the Georgia Dome against these Carolina Panthers. I have the Falcons winning this game against the Panthers 26-20, taking their record to a flawless 4-0 on the season and dropping the Panthers down to 1-3. I think the Panthers, they can win this game, but Cam Newton has to be special. This defense has to step up, force Matt Ryan into some turnovers, stop the running game, and give themselves a chance. If Cam Newton can get it done on the offensive end, the defense show up, get a couple of turnovers, short fields for their offense, and Cam Newton can cash in on those short fields with touchdowns. They can't afford to kick a whole bunch of field goals in this game. Atlanta can score points, and they can score them in bunches. They got to be ready to score touchdowns. If they can do that, they got a serious shot in this game. I just don't see them being able to go on the road in the division against a team that's playing really good football right now and get a W. Falcons 26, Panthers 20. Moving on. The next game on the slate is another family business matchup, pitting the Seattle Seahawks against the St. Louis Rams in a divisional matchup between 2 NFC West teams who are going in different directions. The Rams 2 weeks ago got their first win of the season, and things were looking up. They go on the road last week to the Chicago Bears, and they lay an egg. Meanwhile, the Seattle Seahawks are coming off of 2 impressive wins. One not as impressive as the other one. 2 weeks ago, they demolished the Cowboys at home. And last week, they had a controversial win versus the Green Bay Packers. Nonetheless, still a win. 2 wins in a row. They're ascending. The Rams right now coming off of a bad loss at Chicago where they just could not do anything right on the offensive end. And so the Seahawks are looking to come into this game and notch another victory on the road. It's not going to be easy, however. This St. Louis Rams team plays good football at home. You know Jeff Fisher is going to have them prepared to play for a divisional game. Their first in the division this year under Jeff Fisher at home. It's going to be a hard environment for the Seahawks to go into and try to get a victory. But I think they can do it. Marshawn Lynch has to be able to run the football, control time of possession. They have to limit Sam Bradford in the short passing game. The Rams want to get Sam Bradford going early, and they want to get the ball out of his hands quickly. When Sam Bradford holds on to the ball for long periods of time, bad things happen. When he gets the ball out of his hands quickly, that Rams offense moves, and they move the ball down the field, and they can put up points. So the goal for the Rams is get the ball out of Sam Bradford's hands quickly to his receivers, to his playmakers, allow them to make things happen. Run the football with Steven Jackson. Go play action fake and try to push the ball down the field when the opportunity presents itself. This is a tough Seattle Seahawks defense. I'm going out on a limb and saying they have the best secondary in all of the National Football League. I love what their corners bring to the table. I love what their safeties do. I just love their secondary. And so just on that alone, I think that the Seattle Seahawks are going to be too much for this St. Louis Rams team. They get pressure with their front four as well. And pressure with your front four, adding to that a devastatingly good secondary, it equals to turnovers, especially for a Rams team that can be pressured into mistakes. I see the St. Louis Rams dropping their second game at home to the Seattle Seahawks, 20-13 in a close matchup. Again, family business is being conducted here. Don't expect a blowout unless the Rams implode at home. If the Rams win this game, it's going to be tight. If the Seahawks win this game, it could get out of control. I don't see it happening, however, but I do see them coming away with a 20-13 victory over the Rams on the road, taking their record to 3-1, dropping the Rams to 1-3 on the season. Moving right along down the slate of games, this is a tough one. This is a very tough matchup because this is two defensive-minded teams battling each other and two offenses that they try to just score just enough to win. And I'm talking about the San Francisco 49ers traveling to New Jersey to take on the New York Jets in a matchup that sees two teams coming off of two different games. The Jets barely escaping Miami last week, a divisional matchup, with a win in overtime on the leg of Nick Folk in overtime with a field goal. They had every opportunity to lose that football game. Miami just didn't know how to win and seal the deal. And so the Jets were able to come away with a victory in a game that they probably should have lost. And then you look at the 49ers, who just flat out got beat at their own game last week in Minnesota against the Minnesota Vikings, who just controlled the game from start to finish. They came out, ran the football, established themselves as a team that was going to control time of possession, took an early lead, made the 49ers have to play from behind, something the 49ers haven't had to do all season. And they took it to them start to finish. The 49ers turned the football over, which is uncharacteristic of this 49ers team. They turned it over 3 times. And I said in the preview for that game last week, the 49ers are going to turn the football over eventually. They can't play flawless every single game. And it's going to happen on the road. And it did. They lost. They move on. They're still a very good football team. I expect them to go to the Jets. And I expect them to play good football. I expect them to rebound off of that loss. The Jets are a team right now that on offense, you just don't know what you're going to get. Mark Sanchez is and continues to be, has been, and I think he's going to continue to be until he's on the bench, an enigma. You don't know what Mark Sanchez you're going to get from week to week. Just about every week, though, you're going to get the Mark Sanchez that's going to turn the football over. Every 4 weeks or so, you're going to get Mark Sanchez that's going to give you 21 of 30, 274 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. But right after that, for the next 3 weeks, you're going to get 1 touchdown, 2 interception Mark Sanchez. No touchdowns, 2 interception Mark Sanchez. Or 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 21 of 34 for a 234-yard Mark Sanchez, which a lot of times that's a bad game for him because it's sporadic. Even though that 21 of 34 doesn't sound as bad, it is bad because in the context of the game and passes and throws that he should be able to make, he's not making. And so I think the 49ers are going to be able to baffle him on the offensive side of football. Their defense is going to baffle him, force him into some errant throws, some bad decisions, make him pay for mistakes that he's going to make. And they're going to use those mistakes to power their offense into points, whether it be field goals, touchdowns. The 49ers are going to make them pay. This is going to be a low-scoring affair. I don't see either one of these teams lighting the scoreboard up, but I do see the 49ers doing enough to win in this game. 19-13 over the Jets. I see Alex Smith bouncing back. He didn't have a terrible game, but it wasn't an Alex Smith-like game. He's a guy that manages the game, doesn't turn the football over. He had 35 pass attempts last week. That's not what Alex Smith and the 49ers do. They don't throw the ball 35 times. They don't ask Alex Smith to throw the football 35 times. He's going to go back to throwing the ball 24 times. He's going to be 18 of 24 in this game for 200 yards, 189 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. They're going to run the football with Frank Gore, control time of possession, and win this game 19-13, taking their record to 3-1, dropping the Jets to 2-2 on the season. And I think that's what the Jets are. They are a 500 team right now until they start playing better football. And I have them going to the playoffs this year, but they got to be better. They can't continue to play this inconsistent brand of football where they're up one week, down the next week, up one week, down the next. They got to get some kind of consistency, and it starts with Mark Sanchez at quarterback. He needs to be better. If he can't play better and they have to put Tebow in, I don't know where this thing is going to go for the Jets, but we will see. Stay tuned because this Jets team is going to turn into a soap opera here soon, and it's going to be because Mark Sanchez can't play consistent football at the quarterback position. So we move right along to the Chargers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. More family business. And this San Diego Chargers team took a bad loss a week ago at home at the hands of the Atlanta Falcons. I thought that the Chargers were playing good football, and I thought they were ready to take on an upper echelon team in the league and show out and show well. Even if they lost, if they showed out well and lost 27-23, I was willing to accept that and just say they got beat by a better team. But they got embarrassed at home. They weren't even close. They didn't show up. And it let me know, and it put my thoughts in perspective, that this San Diego Chargers football team isn't a great team. They're a good team. They're a solid football team, but they're not great. They're not going to blow the doors off of mediocre teams, and they're not going to be able to hang with the upper echelon elite teams in the league. They're just a good football team that's going to play solid football, beat the teams that they're supposed to, and maybe come close against teams they're not, or they'll just get beat up like they did against the Atlanta Falcons. So that kind of made me take a step back on them in that division. Meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs, they showed a lot of heart and grit last week, coming back from an 18-point deficit in New Orleans against a team that was desperate for a win. Both of these teams were 0-2 at the time, and I thought that the New Orleans Saints were going to demolish this Kansas City Chiefs football team. Had a chance to do so. Jamal Charles ripped off a 91-yard run, and I thought that changed the complexion of the game. They were able to come back, field goal their way to overtime, and ultimately win on another Ryan Suckup field goal. He went 5 for 5 last week. They also got a safety. They only scored 1 touchdown in their 27-24 victory over the New Orleans Saints a week ago. And so they're in the win column now. I think they have a little bit of confidence. They're at home in this game. They can beat the San Diego Chargers. And I think that the Chargers, they got a wake-up call last week. You're not as good as you thought you were. And Ryan Matthews came back, and he's a guy that can't hold on to the ball. He's a fumbler. He has to stop fumbling the football or else he can't get carries. They can't afford to turn the ball over. And they did a good job in the first 2 weeks of not turning the ball over. He comes back in week 3, and they turn the football over. He's the common denominator there. If he's going to turn the football over, he's going to have to take a seat on the bench. So, I think the Chargers are going to bounce back, though. I think they are the better team in this game. And if the Chargers come out, establish themselves in the passing game, I think Phillip Rivers has to take command of this offense. I thought a week ago they tried to implement Ryan Matthews, and it backfired. He turned the ball over, and it didn't help their cause. I think in the first 2 weeks, they put the load on Phillip Rivers' shoulders, and they mixed in a little bit of the running game with Brinkley and Battle and those guys. But I think they need to go back to letting Phillip Rivers distribute the football amongst those receivers, Floyd and Eddie Royal and Meacham and those guys, and let them get the ball down the field through the passing game, sprinkle in a little bit of the running game, control this game offensively by scoring points. Make the Chiefs. The Chiefs still can't score points. They scored 27 last week, but they kicked 5 field goals, got a safety, and had a 91-yard touchdown run. They're not scoring points on offense. Make them have to outscore you. If you do that, you're going to win this football game. And so I think San Diego can do that on the road in a tough environment to win in Arrowhead. It's family business. It's going to be tight. It's going to come down to the wire, but I just don't think Kansas City can score enough points. I have the Chargers scoring 23 points, getting the W 23-16 to run their record to 3-1 in this division, or 3-1 overall, and 2-0 in this division, dropping the Kansas City Chiefs to 1-3 and 0-1 in that division. All right, so our travels through the slate of games takes us next to Houston, where the Houston Texans will be waiting on division rival, another family business affair, the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee traveling to Houston. This is a mismatch because the Texans are the dominant team in this division. I've said it before. I'll say it again. There's no one knocking at the door of the Texans in this division. No one is at the throne or challenging the throne, of the Houston Texans in this division. It's their division to win, and I think they're going to win this division running away from everyone else because there's no one there to challenge the throne. I think the Texans will win this division for the next 2 or 3 years before someone actually steps up and is a serious contender for the throne of the AFC South division. And so Tennessee is not ready. And this is a road game for them. They have to go to Houston and try to get a win. I don't think that's possible for this Tennessee Titans team right now. They've been a whole different team on the road. They've looked solid at home. Even in that blowout loss to New England, I thought they played a solid game. They just made too many mistakes. The Patriots took advantage of it, scored touchdowns, and that game got out of hand. They played another home game, and they were able to beat the Detroit Lions in a shootout. And a game that shouldn't have even went to overtime. They dominated that game, and they should have won in regulation, but they had a breakdown. Allowed the Lions to score 14 points in the last minute and some change in the game and tied up and send it to overtime. But they were able to get the win nonetheless, score 44 points. I thought that their young quarterback, Jake Locker, looked good in this football game. And I told you, he's going to wreck this vehicle because he has the keys to the Tennessee Titans vehicle now. He's going to wreck it several times, but he's also going to be able to drive it and drive it smoothly at times. He looked good last week. However, in his one road start, he was abysmal. They turned the football over, they looked a mess, and they got blown out by San Diego on the road. And so he has to show me that he can go out and take this show on the road and be able to play solid football and keep it together and give this Tennessee Titans team a chance to win on the road. We're going to see this is a big test for them because Houston right now is playing good football and they're clicking on all cylinders. They're playing good on the defensive side of the ball. Offense, you know, can score points and score them in a hurry. And so this Tennessee Titans team is going to have to do everything perfect to have a chance to win. I don't see it happening. I see the Tennessee Titans going on the road and losing to the Houston Texans 27-16. The Texans are the dominant team here. They're going to run the football with Ben Tate and Arian Foster. They're going to use that to go play action fake, push the ball down the field to Owen Daniels and Andre Johnson and Kevin Walter and all these other guys, Lestar Jean. They're going to push the ball down the field. This is what the Houston Texans do. And although Matt Schaub lost a piece of his ear last week, that's not going to stop him from throwing the ball all over this Tennessee Titans defense. They're going to win at home 27-16 over the Tennessee Titans to take their record to 4-0. And they're looking like one of the better teams in all of football right now. Meanwhile, the Tennessee Titans will drop to 1-3 on the season. So we move on down the slate and we find ourselves next in Detroit for some more family business. A lot of divisional matchups this weekend. More family business in the way of the Detroit Lions hosting the Minnesota Vikings, who just came off of a very impressive win at home against the San Francisco 49ers. And so now I think this Minnesota Vikings team has some confidence. With Matthew Stafford getting injured a week ago, not practicing on Wednesday, not practicing or being limited on Thursday, there's a question to whether he'll be able to suit up and play or not. I think he'll be able to go. I think he's going to give it a go. This has been a problem for him in the past, staying healthy. The one thing the Lions cannot afford to have is an injured Matthew Stafford. So if he needs to sit out for a week to ensure that he'll be able to play and be healthy moving forward on this season, they need to sit him down. If this is something he can play through, be okay and not re-injure it or make it worse and exacerbate that injury, then play him. But you need Matthew Stafford to take you wherever you're going to go. If you don't have a healthy Matthew Stafford, the Lions will not make the playoffs this year. I will guarantee you that. I like their quarterback situation with Sean Hill coming off the bench, but Sean Hill is a nice backup that can get you through a 3-game stretch and go 2-1, but that's not someone that's going to be able to take you where you want to go long term for the remainder of the season. So you can't jeopardize Matthew Stafford's season for a game. If you feel like you need to sit him down, sit him down. If he's able to play, I think this Lions team is going to be able to win this game because it's tough to win on the road. I've said it time and time again, and I'll continue to say it because on the road in the National Football League, it's just a tough proposition for the road team. The crowd noise, the momentum swings, things just happen when you're on the road that makes it tough for you to win. When the ball starts rolling downhill and that boulder just continues to gain steam and momentum and you can't stop it, it just becomes too hard. Things start to snowball and the game can get out of hand, or you can find yourself down and running out of time and it might just be too late for you to make a comeback. That's what happens to teams when they get on the road, and it's so tough, especially when teams are evenly matched or right around the same area of each other as these teams are in Minnesota and Detroit. Minnesota actually is sporting a better record coming into this game at 2-1. The Lions dropped a game that I thought they were going to be able to go on the road and get against Tennessee, and now they're 1-2 on the season, so they're desperately looking for a win because they need to climb back into this division. The Bears right now are on top with a 2-1 mark, and so everyone is right there. And this Vikings team is on top as well with a 2-1 mark. So they have a chance to not only better their standards and standings in this division, but they have a chance to pull the Minnesota Vikings down as well. And so this is a big game for the Lions early on in the season. Divisional matchup, family business is being conducted here. They need to go out and establish one. I love Wk4. I thought he had an excellent debut last week against the Tennessee Titans. They need to establish the running game in Detroit. They don't run enough. I think if they can get anything, any kind of semblance of a run game and go play action fake off of that, do you know what that will do for that offense? This offense is already explosive. If they can get teams to commit to having to stop the run, Calvin Johnson one-on-one? Are you kidding me? This could be a revelation for them if they can get Wk4 to be a consistent force in that backfield. I like him. I think that he can establish himself against this Minnesota Vikings team, run the football. I thought Frank Gore ran effectively against them last week. He just fumbled the ball, and they were behind, so they couldn't run as much as they would have liked. But I think Wk4 can run on this Minnesota Vikings defense. Matthew Stafford can pass the football. The key for this game is stop Adrian Peterson, and I think that Christian Ponder is coming into his own. I really like him. I like his game. However, he has to show me more. I've seen flashes last year. I'm starting to see more of the potential start to come to fruition this year, but he has to continue to be consistent. Make him show you more. If you're the Lions, don't allow Adrian Peterson to gas you. Make Christian Ponder beat you. Make him make plays in the passing game. I think the Lions will do that. I think they'll run the football. I think they'll get the ball to Calvin Johnson, to Titus Young, to Nate Burleson, to Pettigrew, and they'll run the football, and they'll be able to win this game at home. It's going to be close. It's family business, as it always is when family business is being conducted, it's going to be a close ball game. But I see the Detroit Lions doing enough at home against the Minnesota Vikings, 20-23, to take their record to 2-2, drop the Minnesota Vikings to 2-2 as well on the season. Moving right along, more family business. This is a family business week. A lot of family business being conducted. This is a family business week. And so more family business in the way of the Patriots packing up and going to Buffalo to play the Bills, a place that was not kind to the New England Patriots a year ago. The Bills got these Patriots at home last year in a shootout early in the season. And so the Bills have proven that they're not afraid of this New England Patriots team. And there's been talks of both of their backs. I think more so Fred Jackson will be able to play more. I don't know about C.J. Spiller. That was a tough injury last week. It wasn't his legs, so you feel good about it. But again, anytime we're talking about shoulders and shoulders maybe popping out of place, you want to be careful with that. You don't want to have this be something that lingers throughout the course of the season. And if he needs rest, and if you get Fred Jackson back, use Jackson, rest Spiller, and then be at full strength next week. But you know they want this game against the Patriots bad. You know they want it bad. And so if Spiller tells them he can go, if the team doctors say, hey, he's okay, they're probably going to play him. Spiller's going to want to go. And I think that Jackson is going to be back. He's been out for the last 2 or 3 weeks here. And so I think he's going to be able to suit up. They want to beat this Patriots team bad. And if you're going to have any chance in this division, that's the team you're going to have to go through. Every team knows that. And so you're at home. You have to take advantage of games at home, especially within the division, especially against the team that is the preeminent team in that division. And so if you're the Bills, you got to pull out all the stops. And so if C.J. Spiller can go, if Fred Jackson can go, got to suit him up, got to put him on the field, got to play him, and you got to ride these guys' backs. Because C.J. Spiller has looked like one of the best backs in all of football this year. When he's been on the field, whether it's a screen pass, a toss, a stretch, or just some power running, C.J. Spiller's done it all. He's been effective, and he's gashed teams in the running game, in the passing game. He's been effective no matter what he's been called on to do. And so the Patriots have to worry. If C.J. Spiller is playing, they have to know where he is on the field at all times and stop him and limit him. Fred Jackson is going to add a dimension to this offense that's been missing for the last 2 weeks. This Bills team has been playing good football after getting blown out in week 1 against the Jets. They've come back and notched 2 straight victories against lesser opponents. This is a team against the Patriots that they're going to play that's going to up that level of competition. And let's see what the Bills are made of. They're now 2-1 on the season, but they've beat the Kansas City Chiefs and Cleveland Browns in respective weeks. And so they haven't played the level of competition that the Patriots are going to pose. And so we're going to see what these Bills are really made of. I'm not sold on them. They have to show me that they can get it done at home. They've beaten this New England Patriots team at home before. They're not afraid of the Patriots. But I need to see it. This Patriots team is starving for a win. They're 1-2 on the season. And they had a tough loss to the Ravens on the road. They've played a tough schedule to start out this season. And so nothing has been easy for the Patriots. They're going to have a tough game on the road in the division, but they can handle the Bills on the road in the division. They need this one. They can't afford to fall to 1-3 in this division. Not with the Jets at 2-1. Not with the Bills already at 2-1. You're playing the Bills. You drop a game to them, and they go to 3-1. You go to 1-3. Now you're staring up at the Bills in the division, and I'm talking about way up, as the Bills will be 2 games over you with a win over you in the division. You can't afford to have that happen. I think the Patriots know what's at stake. They'll come out, play solid football. Tom Brady will spread the ball around as he did against the Ravens. And they scored 30 points against that Ravens defense. I don't see why they can't put up 30+ against this Bills defense. I don't think they will, but I don't see why they cannot. But nonetheless, I have the Patriots winning this ball game 27-23 in a close game over the Buffalo Bills, taking their record to 2-2, dropping the Bills to 2-2 as well. And this is a statement game for the Bills. You want to have respect in this division. You want to have a chance to win this division. Here's your opportunity to start to take steps to do so. You're at home against a team you know if you want to win this division, you're going to have to go through. Get it done. I don't see it happening. But again, I've been wrong, and I've been wrong plenty of times this season. Prove me wrong. I want to see you prove me wrong. I don't like the Patriots. I want to see you do well. I want to see somebody challenge the Patriots and make them work for that division. Let's see if you can be one of the teams that make them do so. I just don't see it happening, though. 27-23 Patriots take this one on the road in the division against the Buffalo Bills.